I grew up against going to therapy. But before I tell you about that, let me introduce myself. Hi, my name is Sabrina and I have OCD. So, like I was saying, I grew up against going to therapy. Growing up, I had a lot of behavioral issues, and someone told my mom to take me to a psychologist, but they said it like it was a bad thing, like there was something wrong with me and I needed fixing. So one day, my mom told me that we were going to a doctor's appointment for her, but when we got there, it turned out that the appointment was for me. In short, my mom tricked me into going to therapy, which made me think that all therapists were bad. But fast forward a few years, I started experiencing these symptoms that I couldn't explain, and that led me to change my mind about therapy. So, when I was around 21, I started to notice that I was replaying conversations in my head for weeks on end. Or whenever I would use a public bathroom, I would constantly think about the fact that it was a public bathroom, and I would convince myself that I had contracted some kind of illness from the toilet. Or I would be driving around and think that I ran over and killed someone, even though I didn't, but I would ruminate about it for weeks. And these thoughts were so distressing, and I had no idea that they were symptoms of OCD. I thought everyone must have thoughts like this, but I quickly realized that that was not the case. So I turned into Dr. Google, which I then learned is something that people with OCD often do. And during those searches, I came across content that made me realize that I probably had OCD. It had gotten to a point where my symptoms were so bad and I felt like nothing could stop them. And I realized that I needed to try something. So during one of my searches, NOCD came up. And I started reading reviews about NOCD, and it seemed like a lot of people had experienced the same symptoms that I was experiencing. And the more reviews I read, the more people I realized that therapy helped. And I realized that not all of these people could be broken or need fixing. So perhaps therapy was something real and valuable. And I decided to give it a chance despite my bad experience in childhood. And I decided to give NoCD a try, which honestly allowed me to see therapy in such a new light. What I can say today is that I wish I had started sooner. I truly regret not starting therapy sooner. As soon as I started NoCD, my therapist provided me with the psychoeducation I needed. My therapist taught me all about OCD and how to manage it. And the process of going through therapy changed my life so much that I went from being completely against therapy to now being in school to become a therapist. I decided to go back to school and get my clinical mental health counseling license so that I could do for people what NoCD did for me. Specifically, I want to focus on OCD, meaning that I'll have to specialize in exposure and response prevention therapy, or ERP therapy, which is the type of therapy that is used at NoCD. So if you're like me and you're against therapy or have had a bad experience and you're feeling all of these symptoms, I urge you to rethink your stance and give it a shot. NoCD therapists are trained in OCD and they truly specialize in ERP therapy. Just head to nocd.com to learn more.